Hey everybody, I hope you enjoyed that 2021 graveyard set night view. You can go check out the video in the link below. I want to give you some tips and tricks today. These are some tips that I've learned over the 20 plus years that I've done home haunts and haunted attractions. So here you go. I've tried to film them and I want to try my best to describe them here for you today. If you have any other questions, feel free to let me know in the comments below, or if you want to see other ones, I'll try to make more tips and tricks videos. Let's dive into it right now. I mentioned these before, but I think they're just awesome. Mattress bags. Get your mattress bags at like a local hardware store or a moving store. They're big enough to cover props and big columns as you saw, so I think they're just an awesome thing to have, especially if there's like crazy weather. Big shout out to JPL at Creations on Instagram for letting me know that a couple years ago. If you're powering a lot of stuff, try to have 2 separate extension cords that go into 2 separate breakers. Bonus points if you have separate colors for those extension cords and you label them too. Let's talk air compressors. If you want a bigger air compressor, just make sure there's no extension cords and only grounded outlets. And if you want a quieter air compressor, you can go for an oil-based one. That happens to be an oil-based one. And if you could only use extension cords, try those little tiny pancake ones right there. They can run off of an extension cord. I got a lot of questions about what lighting I use. I use Slimpar Chauvet LED DMX lights. There's a lot of light selection out there for home haunting or haunted attractions. I do have a YouTube video out there that explains it. These are just the ones that I prefer. You can get black electrical boxes with rubber gaskets to help weatherproof electronics. Now into the trash can fog chiller. I love this because it's cheap, it's easy, and it stores well. I also have the corrugated pipe, and I have a YouTube video if you're interested in making it. I love using wooden coat rods just because you can hang stuff from it, and then when you don't need it anymore, you can just remove that wooden dowel. If you want to light pumpkins for a long time and look really cool, use a plastic canister with a rechargeable LED flame light. Kudos to Kara Walker Designs for giving me those rechargeable flame lights. I think you can find them like on Alibaba or something. You might be asking why the plastic canister? Well, I've fogged it up and I've added some weight, so not only does it help the pumpkin from not tipping over, but it also offers this really cool kind of misty look. You don't see where the flame is coming from. If you have a lot of electronics or wires, see what you can do to make things hidden. So in this case, I have the cemetery fence and it's all hollow to store all of that. And also there's holes so that it can go through every one of them. Best fate lightning, halogen shop lights. Totally hands down. You'll just need to program them in something like Director or use your boo box. If you have power cords or power boxes, you could use stuff like Tupperware, and you saw the electrical box, but try to label everything. You saw all the labels in there and some spare parts if I needed it. Here's just a bigger Tupperware where I store things like the boo box and the amplifier. And then I've also labeled it as well. You can see all the labels there too, where each one of those things are labeled for what things are doing what. I keep spare SD cards in here. I keep the tools that I need to work on these things and even some spare parts, all in plastic bags in the Tupperware. For speakers, I use outdoor Yamaha speakers just because they have those easy to input banana clips and they can last through any sort of weather. I fed the speaker wire through the cemetery fence just so we could have a speaker on either side. Here's what those speakers look like from the public's perspective. It's like this cracked stone hole, and I have the speaker fabric there, and you can see that the speakers are laid out on either side. It really sounds good too. Let's talk dummies. So I have the tight knit, the square chicken wire for the base, and I use like a wooden frame there. I'll screw it in using washers, and then try to make it in a pose that you could still fit the clothes over. And if you need some soil, you could use spray foam. Hanging cornstalks on trees just looks awesome. And usually when I hang them, I'll zip tie them on there so they don't move, but it just looks so fun, especially at night if there's like a subtle breeze. It just looks so creepy. Here's some fun tips for a cemetery gate. You can use plastic finials, adhere them to dowels and slide them into PVC. You can use some foam for the top, plastic chains, makes it super light, and then use some bolts to bolt things together here. Here's the same bolts that I use all throughout the whole haunt. Here's some decking joists or ties to help anchor everything down, and if you can't fit the bolt in, you could always use a zip tie. That about wraps it up for some tips and tricks here. If you have any questions, like I said, just leave it in the comments below. Hope this helps. If you want to see more videos, you can check them out here or go on my YouTube page. And until next time, happy haunting.